Stay tuned for a much-needed new term in the American lexicon.
Dad, are you aware that there is a very prevalent occurrence in our society that we don't have a descriptive term for?
Do you mean a common occurrence that's not commonly described by a single term?
Yes.
Are you looking for an aptronym for a common occurrence?
What is an aptronym?
A person who has a name that is suited to their profession. For example, if your surname was Punch and you were a professional boxer, then your surname could be considered an aptronym.
Sort of. It would be nice if there was an aptronym, but there isn't. So, I guess we can say there's a common phenomenon for which there isn't a universally understood aptronym.
You are saying there is no aptronym. Okay. Maybe you should tell me the phenomenon, and we can go from there.
The phenomenon is a person who abandons ethical principles and moral convictions to maintain their political position. The behavior is prevalent, but surprisingly, until now, we have not had a single word to describe that person.
So, you're saying what's needed is an eponym.
Dad, I don't want to sound stupid, but I have to ask you, what is an eponym?
When something is named after a person or object, it can be an eponym. In other words, the name of an object or behavioral trait originating from some historical occurrence that first produced the object or did the activity. With regard to behavior, for example, a person who has the behavior of a hypocrite may be called a Tartuffe. The word originated from the character Tartuffe in Molière's wonderful play of the same name. Another example of an eponym is a person who is treasonous and a collaborator to the enemy in a time of war may be called a Quisling. Quisling was a Nazi collaborator who headed the government of Norway during World War II.
Dad, I think today's politicians are some combination of Tartuffe and Quisling, but there is no word for political hypocrisy and being subversive to their oath of office where they solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies foreign and domestic. This violation by our elected and appointed officials is very prevalent, so prevalent that it is an existential threat to our democratic republic and maybe to democracies around the world. Yet there is no eponym that describes that self-serving behavior. Don't you find that surprising?
Yes, Jill, it is surprising. I never thought of it that way. This egregious behavior of our politicians, that is so prevalent, yet as you and Jim say, there has no common use term that is a universally understood description.
Am I correct in saying that it is only the president and vice president that take an oath of office?
No, dear. Military personnel, both officers and enlisted personnel, take an oath of office. Also, newly elected senators and newly elected members of Congress take the oath of office as a group that is administered when the Congress begins. Most individuals serving in the Congress have taken the oath of allegiance several times if they served in the military or had political positions on the state level. In addition, Article 6 of the Constitution states that elected and appointed officials must uphold the Constitution. There is no excuse for anyone serving in government to violate upholding the Constitution, particularly if it is for some unscrupulous personal gain.
Children, as you can see, never argue with your mother about the Constitution. Perhaps a Lombardi would be a good description. He said, "Winning isn't everything. It's the only thing."
Your father is referring to Vince Lombardi, who was a very successful football coach when he coached the Green Bay Packers. He was extremely competitive, but he was an honest, hard-working man of character. It would not be right to associate his name to describe a bunch of self-serving political hacks. Why don't both of you give your father and me a clearer description of the aberrant political behavior you are referring to?
My definition is a political figure who demonstrates excessive obsequiousness in political contexts, changing positions and principles as needed to maintain favor with political leaders and the electorate.
Jim, what about yours?
It is similar to Jill's. Those operating in the political sphere who cater to both superiors and constituents without genuine principles to keep their political positions.
They are sophisticated definitions. You both must have given it some thought.
We had to come up with a definition of such a political figure in a course we are taking at school.
You are both taking the same course?
Yes, it is a course titled Evolutionary Philosophy.
Is it part of your core curriculum?
No, it is an elective. We heard good things about it, so we decided to take it.
How does this issue come up in a course titled Evolutionary Philosophy?
It is a course that covers the evolutionary basis of ethics and aesthetics. We learn about hominin evolution and how the evolution of our species is a basis for how we perceive ethical and aesthetical issues.
That sounds like a wonderful course. Who teaches it?
Professor Albert.
What did you both find most interesting about the course?
Mom, there are so many things. If I had to pick one, I would say how truth is related to ethics. The course gave me perspectives on truth I had never thought of.
I agree with Jim. The course was a revelation about truth. The origins of truth and how language and society cannot function devoid of the truth. It became clear to me, we all need to have a reverence for the truth.
Mom, do you have a definition of the type of politician we have been talking about?
I have given it some thought, and as a matter of fact I do have a description. Off the top of my head I would say, a political figure who abandons their ethical principles, moral convictions and their educational background to maintain their political position.
Mom, that's pretty good. Dad, do you have a definition?
Jill, I'm sorry to say I don't. So, what is this word you young people are bantering around that describes these problematic politicians?
It's spelled Grud.
Is it pronounced like the words mud and crud?
Yes.
It has a nice emotional ring to it. Is the way it sounds the origin of Grud?
No, the way it sounds is not its etymology. As I understand it, the description Grud was formed by extracting a single letter from the names of 4 prominent political figures who manifest themselves to be archetypical Gruds.
Do you know who these political figures are?
Mom, I don't.
Jill, do you?
No, Mom, but I think people are going to have a lot of fun trying to figure out who the 4 people could be.
I'm sure there is a lot to choose from. It would be interesting to hear how the word Grud would be used.
I would say, his transformation from a principled statesman to a complete Grud was disheartening.
That's clear. Jill, do you have an example of how you would use the word Grud?
I would say, those members of Congress who purported or supported the lie that the 2020 election was fraudulent are a bunch of lying, subversive Gruds.
Jill, you are very definite in your judgment about those who do not support the Constitution.
Sorry, Dad, but that's how I feel.
Honey, please don't apologize. You're within your rights.
Dad, I'm a little disappointed that you haven't given some thought to defining these aberrant politicians.
I'm sure you are both aware of the wonderful ability your father has to understand and define concepts. Why don't you put your children at ease and give them a few definitions that describe the type of politicians we are talking about?
Let me think about it. I would want to define Grud in the way the children are feeling about it. I think your children are scolding me.
No, dear, we should be proud. Jill and Jim are extracting the meaning and consequences of the ethical issues they are learning in class. They are able to do that because of their intelligence and upbringing. You have been an essential part of their upbringing.
Thank you. I think I'll go look in the mirror.